All right, here we are, live. Showtime, folks. The Triple J show. Jacob, Jonny, and John. Jonny P's going to be a few minutes late, and he'll join us when he gets here. We'll bring him on in. I got Jacob over here and John here, and tonight we're gonna go further into this whole just. A big part of it is the way the media classifies this, and we're going to talk about Virginia and this kind of a wide range of stuff tonight. So a few things that have been, hot in the press, and maybe the representation that the press gives them versus what really happens. So here we are. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
All right, guys, new week, new topic this week. Once again, as John, let's reiterate what John was mentioning, was this Virginia thing, showdown in Virginia, possible gun confiscation. Now, we know the Second Amendment of the Constitution is Congress shall make no law on the infringement of gun owners. I'm paraphrasing here. Mm-hmm. Now, you have a state that is basically breaking the supremacy clause. And what that means is whatever's in the U.S. Constitution, okay, whatever's in the U.S. Constitution, the states have no right to infringe upon, okay? And what we have here is we have a governor that he's just taking everything in his own hands. He really doesn't give a damn. And, yeah, he's passing one House bill after another. He's passing one House bill, one after another of just one gun grab after another. And it's gotten to the point where there was a huge protest. We all got to see this big protest that came out. It was on the 20th. I believe that was on a Monday. There was roughly 22,000 counted, but they're saying the numbers could be even higher than that. That's what the media was guessing. Now, here's the problem with what had happened was, these people showed up to show a demonstration of, we want to keep our guns and we're serious about this. We're going to show up on Richmond's Capitol grounds loaded and armed and ready to rock and roll. Well, guess what? Nothing happened because they didn't need to have anything happen because cops didn't get wild and nobody got wild with these guys. Okay, everything was peaceful protest. Everything turned out good. Guess what happened? Right after they left, you guessed it, bills keep going forward. In fact, I got an article for you guys. It's not really an article, it's just more of a news report here that basically they're just moving right along. And now there's people in Virginia saying, hey, it's either violence, which we don't want. Nobody wants that. Nobody wins there. Violence, secede from Virginia, or turn D.C. into its own city-state, where they have their own 2 senators and their 4 representatives based on their population. Okay? And that's where we stand right now. We're at a point now where it's like, look, it's going to come down to violence if we don't get serious about this. And yeah, man, it's gotten to a point where it's like we have got to seriously think about this. So this was just yesterday. Virginia House advances gun control measures. This is in Richmond. For those of you guys who don't know the background of the story, so Virginia's taken in many migrants. I shouldn't say migrants, but legal immigrants. And a lot of people have been repatriated from all over the country to work in the greater D.C. area. Good for them. Well, here's the thing. D.C.'s a city-state. It's not considered part of Virginia. But these people want to live outside in nice neighborhoods, and they move to places like Fairfax and those neighborhoods. Well, guess what? They all have voting rights. And, yeah, as you can guess, they're going to stuff the ballot box, and they're going to strip Virginians of their right to bear arms. And this guy, say whatever you want about him. I don't think highly of him. Governor Blackface Northam, I called him. He ran on this, and the people of Virginia voted for it. So democratically, he won. He won at the ballot box. So there's people in the states that live out in the counties. They're saying, we don't want no part of this. In West Virginia, they're inviting Virginia to come on over and join their statehood. But they're trying to avoid this by creating D.C. as its own city-state, like where its actual state was 4 senators. I'm sorry, 4 representatives and 2 senators. Anything you can think about, John, right now, at the top of the head?
I wanted to add that's the importance of getting out to vote. I mean, the Virginians were warned ahead of time that they needed that it was an important election. They needed to get out there and vote, and whether they did or not, like Jacob said, Northern did, win the election, but did everybody get out and vote that needed to? It's something you got to keep in mind, guys, gals, because if we don't get out and let our voice be heard in the ballot box or whatever, this is the kind of stuff that happens. And now Virginia's under attack. Under attack of losing their First and Second Amendment rights. Bam, bam. Once those are gone, they have nothing to stand on. So, I guess my whole thing would be, make sure. I hear so many people say, my vote don't count anyway. I'm not. It does, If everybody sits back and thinks like that, those who want to affect the change are going to get out there and make the vote and make it happen and get the changes they want. So you've got to get out there and let your voice be heard on the things you want. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Virginia's in a bad way right now. I don't see how this is going to have a positive ending myself.
So here's another solution. I've already spoke about. There's 2 solutions that are right now being discussed. Okay, there's the solution of West Virginia is inviting all these Republican counties to join statehood, which means they're seceding from Virginia and they're becoming part of West Virginia. That is a possible solution to avoid any kind of violent conflict. Also, like I mentioned, they thought about making D.C. its own state, giving its own statehood. And to me, I think that's optimal because those people want their own state. They want their own 2 senators. For those of you guys who know, the D.C. area is deep blue. It's like L.A., San Francisco, New York City. It is a deep blue. It is navy blue. It's not purple. It's navy blue. They would desperately want their own statehood, and that's what I think would be the optimal solution. There's also another one. I've got another article for you guys here. This is this is Virginia law. This isn't an article. So basically, there's this one too. Now you have a guy, Northam. He's trying to change the law right now to where he can't be recalled. For those of you guys who don't know what that means, when you elect a governor, and he's acting in such a way that where people feel like he's a real threat to the state's the Commonwealth of Virginia, they're just going to get rid of him. And so what they do is the voters of Virginia are calling for a referendum on the election, and it's a long process. What you do is you go to your state, you go to your county clerks, you get a petition, you get all these signatures. They check the signatures. They verified all these signatures are registered voters in certain counties inside the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then if there's so many signatures, it goes to a state circuit court, and I guess a judge rules on it. And then that's the way they can remove him from the governorship in the state of Virginia. That, to me, if you want to keep Virginia intact the way it is, and you don't want to have any violence, I think this is the optimal route right here. And we have both these articles for you guys. You guys can go through them and read through them yourself. But I don't think there's any way around this. I think the guy's going to stay in power. I think he's even changing the law. I'll have to just look that up while we're on here. He's even changing the law on the referendum where you can't call in his governorship. I think he's actually changing the law on that. I think you had 90 days. The voters had 90 days. He's trying to shorten that to 30. He's in the process of changing. I mean, guys, these guys are legislatively just moving bill after bill after bill. Let me start with another bill so everyone can see this. You can't even criticize this guy. This is a violation of the First Amendment. Here is the Virginia bill right here. I'm going to show you guys here in a second that he's making it law where you are not even allowed to criticize him or the government in Richmond. That is the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So you guys can obviously see what's going on here. He's trying to paint his opposition in a corner where they can't do nothing. They have no ability to. They can't voice their opinion. They can't use their guns to protect themselves if there's some kind of armed conflict. I mean, these guys, he's moving one after another after another.
That's a vicious attack on our republic, on our freedom, and
Yeah, man.
it's happening right in front of our faces, and they're not shy about it. I mean, it's all started in Virginia. The way I understand it, Missouri's coming right behind them, and I hear maybe possibly Indiana as well. So, I mean, it's just going to start moving, and that right in your face. They're bold right out front, chopping our rights away, right in front of our faces, and they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Hey, if you could open up that Virginia bill real quick.
Oh, did I miss
It's
one?
House Bill 1627. So for all our viewers, you guys can look this up yourself. You guys can, and if we have anybody, any single person that watches the podcast, video cast, and you live in the state of Virginia, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe get you on the show, or just we can go back and forth in the comments with you. This is what I'm talking about. Now he's making it a law to where if you even he threats and harassment, all you have to do is just criticize him, and it's now considered harassment, and you can face legal challenges to your First Amendment rights. Guys, why is it the First Amendment? Because it's the most important, and you need the second to protect the first. And it's obviously HB's is an acronym for House Bill. So that's the Virginia House Bill. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. He's moving right along, baby. I mean, this dude's moving right along. He's not wasting any time.
I was just reading through this. I had not heard of this yet. So, wow, that's crazy, man, oh man.
Yeah, man.
I, I'll be curious to see what route the citizens of Virginia take during all this. Certainly, I don't think they're just going to sit back and sit quiet. I don't think. What do you think? They're not, are they?
I don't think they are. Well, this is what's going to happen because I've been on Reddit. I've been in several subreddits where we've talked about this, and Reddit's a great place to have these discussions because they're more free flowing. It's not like Twitter where Twitter's only 140 characters and there's a lot of trolls. I mean, I hate to say this, but there's a lot of trolls on Twitter. Twitter's a lot of fun, but there's a ton of trolls on there. And you can't get the conversation flowing when you have this constant interruption. But on Reddit, you can have these subreddits set up in Virginia where we're going back and forth. And they're saying we can ask these people to have their own state. That is, these DC a-holes have their own state. They get their own 2 senators. They get their own 4 representatives based on the population. They'd get about 4 representatives. And that would be a win-win for everybody. No violence. They have their own little – everybody wins there. But they don't want that. They want the whole state of Virginia because it's more electoral votes, see? They want to take the whole pie. They don't want to take just a little section of it. They don't want a slice of the pie. They want the whole state. And another thing is West Virginia's like, okay, we'll absorb all these counties. Well, guess what? I don't think you're going to get judges and the governor is going to comply with something like that without a fight. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's going to be very difficult. These counties can secede, have the legal right to do that, but I don't know if NATO might get involved with that. I don't know if the state police and the state troopers might get involved with that because the sheriffs are elected. So just so people understand, sheriffs are elected by the county. They're not elected they're not picked by the governor. So they don't have to comply. But it's the local police and the state police. They're the ones that have to take the governor seriously when the governor issues a state of emergency. And it could be a real showdown. And he has the right to call up the local National Guard, and it can get really ugly. But the solution I see best is just try to recall this guy as soon as possible. I'm going to find this bill real quick where he's trying to expedite this window of this bill to where they can't throw him out of office.
Right, and during the rally last Monday, he did use state police as his security force. So, I saw live footage from there, and it showed them all standing there. So, I mean, they were there. It still raises a question to me as to, they're sworn to uphold the law and whatnot, and how, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But you're right. The sheriff is elected by the people, the public, and so falls under, he wasn't appointed by a governor or whatnot. So, different rules apply to the sheriffs for sure. Let me get this one you just posted here. Grab it and put it up here.
Get a visual aid of some of these things. I'll show some folks here. Wow, man, it's crazy. It is just crazy, man. It just goes to show you. So when you get this other one pulled up here, so this is what I'm talking about in our first little the law, the Virginia law of recalling this governor. This would be ideal. We have to change nothing. We don't have to. DC doesn't get its own statehood. Virginia doesn't have to secede. You recall the governor, like I showed in that first law article. Here's the bill. He's trying to shorten the length of time the citizens have to do that. I believe it was 90 days in the last one. I forgot the exact date, but he's trying to shorten it in this bill to, he's trying to shorten it to 60 days with a higher percent, 25% rather than I believe it was 10%. Yeah, it was
10, yeah.
It was. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's up 10% from what it was before. He's moving it to up to 25%, higher 10% before, and then shortening the window to 60 days. So see, he knows this governor, this I call him Blackface Northam. He knows what's going on. He knows people are going to recall him and throw him out of office. That's why he's ramming these bills through real fast. That way he can change the laws before they have a chance to get involved and react. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a blueprint for the rest of the country. These deeply blue cities and red states, this is going to be a blueprint. You see states like Missouri, like in Columbia, they'll just hammer away bills. You'll see states like, let me think of some other ones. Texas is another one that could possibly turn blue in the near future. Arizona's another one. In Phoenix, they could just ram a bunch of bills like these through Phoenix, because Arizona's a deep red state until you get to Tucson and Phoenix. And then I think of some other ones that are real close. Oh, North Carolina's another one. North Carolina, Florida's another one. All these states, Georgia is now, because of their immigration, they're now considered a swing state, which they were a deep red state for years and years and years. And they're all watching Virginia. All these governors and all these states are watching Virginia. Okay, this is the blueprint for how we permanently change these states. 1, immigration, get them settled. Number 2, stuff the ballot box. Stuff the ballot box. Step 3, start changing all the laws. Once you change all the laws, I mean, it's over. I mean, they're going to take away your rights one after another. And they did this all legally, right underneath your nose. Right underneath your nose.
We sat back and watched.
Yep. Meanwhile, everyone's watching Netflix, playing their PlayStation, watching college basketball, not giving two hoots.
Worried about the sham impeachment and focusing on that distraction while all this other stuff's taking place and going through and taking place, so.
It's just crazy, man. It just blows you away. You can't even begin to believe. I'm going to give you guys a map here so we have some other visual aid here so people can see I want to show everyone with this little map here. If you can click the link, John, I want to show everyone how deeply red, or I should say pro-Second Amendment Virginia is. Look at those greens, okay? The green right there, that represents sanctuary city, okay? Or sanctuary county, I'm sorry. They have a Second Amendment sanctuary resolution, and they support the Constitution resolution, okay? That one orange county, those 2 orange counties are just pending. Those two other counties in Richmond where the pink's at, and the other one was that suburb of Washington, D.C., those are denied, obviously, because of the density of population being left voters. And then along the coastline where the Atlantic Ocean meets along the coastline, those are like the real touristy areas, and those are generally all those areas have been blue for a long time. But if you look at the rest of the state, look at all that green. These are Republican counties, guys. So it's gonna be interesting, guys. But let's talk about like the optics about this, though. So the media is going to portray this all as, these white nationalists and their guns, and they're so backwoods, and they're so. John, how did you interpret the mainstream media's narrative of this event? Like, what I mean is the actual gun. I don't want to call it a protest. I guess you call it a protest. The gun protest, the Second Amendment protest on the Capitol grounds at Richmond. How would you interpret the mainstream media's narrative of how they saw it?
Well, they tried to paint a picture in the beginning, leading up to the 2A rally. They tried to paint a picture of violence and criminal activity and all these militias and white nationalists with their guns and white, oh man, we've arrested 3 head white supremacist people that were going to go to the rally. And they kept pushing this narrative that it was going to be a big violent, all these crazy nuts were going to show up with guns and it was just going to be a mess. And it's kind of funny because the Northrop, he put a wall around the Capitol there. So inside that chain link fence, it was a fence. So you were fenced in. You had to disarm to go inside that. So you had to go in there unarmed and everything inside this fence, one exit, one entrance in this fence gated in portion. The people that I follow and watch in the live streams that I saw, those guys all stayed outside because, of course, they're not going to disarm themselves, right? And go into a fence where there's no way to get out. But the media kept pushing this narrative of how violent it was going to be and all this and that. The funny thing that I found through all of that was they pushed all of this narrative, had people scared to death, the common folk, the people who watched the news and whatnot. And the thing came and went, and there was no violence, no arrests, no problems, no trash left behind, no buildings got burnt down, nothing got looted, no cop cars got smashed. It was unlike the rallies of the Democrats by a long ways, for sure. So the media pushed all this narrative out of how it was going to be, and then it wasn't, and now you don't hear anything about it. I haven't heard anything. Have you? I mean, it just kind of went away.
No, it just went away. I think the media stopped talking about it because, again, the governor and his crew, I call his crew the Congress of Virginia, the state Congress of Virginia, the House and the Senate, they're silently passing bills. They're not giving us a lot of attention because, see, here's the thing they know. We won the optics game. That Northam guy, let me tell you guys something. He's no idiot. Say whatever you want about him being a tyrant. Say whatever you want about him being a antithetical to Virginians' values. That's fair. This guy's not stupid. He knows exactly. He has a plan. He's executing this plan, and he knows. Okay, we lost the optics game. We painted these guys as white nationalists. We had the media on our side. The optics game we lost. We didn't win. But what we're going to do is we're going to zip it up. We're going to do our job. We're going to pass one bill after another, after another, after another. And it's going to be this slow tyranny of law after law after law, death by 1,000 cuts. And next thing you know, your guns will be gone. Your speech will be gone. It's all just gone one after another after another. And it's, guys, to keep a republic, this is one thing I wanted to mention real quick, is to keep a republic, guys, the founding fathers had an idea. They said, look, well, forget the fact they were talking about landowners only, but we need to have an informed electorate. That's why they were all about, education and such. We have to have an electorate that votes, that they're informed. We can't have an electorate of people that just want to vote to take away other stuff and just vote to take away property because they're going to use mob rule. They understood direct democracy is a complete failure. That's why they said we need to have a constitutional republic, not a direct democracy, regardless of what these leftists tell you. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. They understood we need an enlightened electorate. That was Thomas Jefferson's words, I believe. Or it could have been Sam Adams. Either way, we need an enlightened electorate. What's going on? Why isn't nobody talking about this? I'll tell you why. Because they're so busy doing their other things. But guys, I'm not the activist type to tell you to get out there and do all this stuff. But look, this is something you need to be talking about. I don't care if you live in Seattle. I don't care if you live, hell, even in the UK. Let's say you guys live in the UK or Germany. I think we have one follower from the UK. I'd still share it on social media just so the other blokes know what the hell's going on. Because once we lose our guns, guys, that's it. They can run roughshod over us. And hell, he's dealing with it over in the UK right now. They have no power over there. They can do whatever they want. The government over there, the Queen and I forget what not Theresa May, that other dude they just elected. They can do whatever they want over there. Whatever they want. The people, there's pretty much nothing they can do about it. You guys have seen how long they've delayed this Brexit. We've seen it. right? I'm not going to turn this into a Brexit talk, but guys, once you lose your right to speak and you lose your right to own guns, you are powerless against the government.
Yep. Johnny's not going to make it on tonight, so it's just
Okay.
us. He can't get service.
Let's check out the memes here real quick.
Yeah, I'm just throwing some stuff up that I found this week while I was surfing around, and it just they're just memes made, that people made because of the narrative that the media push and stuff didn't take place and whatnot, and there's reasons for that, and it's we're not the problem. they and I don't even know who we call they, the deep state, whatever, the elitists, whatever you call them. They want us disarmed for a reason, and we talk about it every show, but so the media, and of course the media is in their back pocket, bought and paid for sure, all your mainstream media, and so they're going to push whatever narrative that they're paid to push, right? So anyway, yeah, and that totally opposite of reality. And however I'm going to say it again, because if we don't get out and start voting, in droves, the whole country's going to be gone.
Yeah, and this is what the founders feared, guys. The founders feared there would be a time, especially Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was really big about there's going to be a time where we become a very decadent, very lazy, very uninformed, very entitled electorate where we don't feel like we have to fight to keep what we have. What people need to understand is you need to preserve freedom. You never really truly have freedom. You preserve freedom. Freedom is preserved and it's handed off from one generation like a baton to the next. You never truly own freedom or have freedom. You preserve freedom. And if we go into we fight constant war over the Middle East, and the Middle East turns into the Roman Empire's Britain, or it turns into the British Empire's India, and it's just this constant war where it drains us of resources and we basically collapse under our own weight. And we have people that just want to open up the borders wide open, let anyone come in. They're not Americans in their values, in their hearts, their minds. They want to turn this country into whatever they came from. If we have a group of people that vote in this country that don't have that freedom first mentality, we will lose this country. And we're seeing it. Virginia is now a template. Other states and these swing states, they're watching. And there's no guarantees. I mean, look at Utah. Utah just took in a ton of migrants. We had this new wave of immigrants that came in here. Utah just took in a ton of migrants. All you need is people to leave California, go into Utah, mass immigration, bring up some mass immigration from Colorado, Arizona, go into Utah. Utah will turn blue. Arizona's about to turn blue. Colorado's blue. Nevada's blue. Texas is going to turn blue. All this is happening, guys, right underneath their eyes, and they're doing it all legally. There's nothing they're doing illegally about. I mean, you could maybe say that naturalizing the citizens who didn't apply to be here to begin with, but this wave of immigrants that just came in recently, they were all legal citizens, man. So if we don't force them to assimilate and take on the values of freedom, and we just turn America into this economic zone where it's just a globalist tax farm, like America's just like a globalist tax farm where you just make money and America's just who gives a damn. We're going to lose this country, guys. We're going to lose it. And it's happening right underneath our noses.
Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. And it's like
every day.
And I want to encourage everybody who watches us you don't necessarily need to get out in the street and start some big movement, but find something on Facebook and share it. Share something on Facebook. Talk to your friends privately about this, how they feel about this. Notice changes that are going on. I don't mean demographic changes. I'm talking changes in sentiments and feelings, changes in America, despite our flaws, we probably do 10 times more good than harm. Notice how we went from that narrative to we're an evil country, we're so evil, white people are out to. So these narratives, guys, change hearts and minds. We need to get out there and have pushback against these narratives of America is this bad place. We need to fight back and say, we've done some bad things in our history, but if you weigh the pros and cons, we've done far more good than, and that's what you need to stand on. Because if we don't fight, guys, believe me, the hearts and minds, you can change people's minds, okay? Even if they're not even a Republican or conservative, you can change people's minds. So I don't want to tell you guys, go to work and act like crazy and political and get fired. But I'm telling you, in your private life, you need to start speaking up, guys. This is we're going to lose it right in front of our eyes.
We are. And guess what all these immigrants are? They're more than just immigrants to the country. They're voters. They're voters, and I'll guarantee you they're not voting red.
And guess what? They're going to have kids, and those kids probably won't vote red either. Yeah. They have, if you look at the birth rates, this is what they call population replacement. Let me just talk about this for just a second. So one of the main fears of the Hart-Celler Act, 1965, was the Immigration Act allowing non-Europeans to immigrate in the electorate. Everyone was worried about it changing the population, not the way people look, but the way their values are. They were worried about that. There was a lot of people worried. And then Jacob Javits and Ted Kennedy assured everyone it will not change the country. We're going to bring it a little at a time. And then they realized there's a lot of political and economic power with immigrants because you can force down wages. You can use them to stuff the ballot box. So the immigration then became a political tool. And then after one amnesty in 86 with Reagan, there was another amnesty with Bush. And next thing you know, and then with DACA, immigration is a political tool for the government to strip us of our rights and force us down economic power, to take our economic power away from us. So that's the perfect formula for destroying a country from within.
Well, yeah, and the other part of that comes to my mind, and I don't want to go all conspiracy theorist on you or anything, but how now look at with the abortion, how many fetuses did this country abort last year? It was tons. I don't remember the number, but it was astronomical. It was a lot. So that's that many less children being born in America as American citizens. How many immigrants did we bring in last year to replace those bodies?
I know in 2000. So I'm sorry, John. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I just kind of thinking. I don't know, logically, I think, but it's like to me, it seems like they're not dumb by any means, and they are attacking our country in a very smart way, as Jacob has referred to several times now. They're doing it legally, but they know what they're doing, and while you were speaking, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, yeah, how many, all these immigrants are coming and coming and coming, and we're aborting baby after baby after baby after baby that aren't being born in the country, and we're replacing them with these people that are being brought in. Pretty soon, I mean, isn't that extinction? Pretty soon we're extinct. We're outnumbered. I might not say extinct, but we are outnumbered and outvoted.
Let me show you this.
Outvoted.
Show you this real quick.
It don't matter if we all go out and vote it. At some point, we're gonna be behind the times.
Yeah, and this is just, I want to get this clear to everybody. So why do we shift the conversation from Virginia guns to immigration? Or, we're talking about, because that is the core issue of what happened there. It wasn't the voters became more informed or the voters changed their hearts and minds. It's the Democrats for a lot of years could not convince these very rural people to vote for them. They could never win. They never could win their message, never could do it. So they figured this is what they're going to do instead. They're going to bring people in legally. And what they're going to do is they're going to lobby with companies, and they're going to tell all these companies, we're going to lower your labor costs. We're going to make all these tax incentives. We're going to set up all this stuff so you can bring in more immigrants to work for your companies. And you're going to save money on labor. We're going to give you tax incentives. We're going to do everything. We're even going to set up special housing for these people to repatriate in these different states. And then the corporations and then the big donors are, man, that was the greatest thing they could have ever heard. They're like, oh my goodness, what do we do? So now you have this weird alliance between big donors and corporations with Democrats. It's like the most antithetical relationship you could ever imagine. But if you look at it from a purely transactional standpoint, it makes sense. These corporations can really benefit because they can push down the wages. Because let's be honest, if you're at the store shopping, you're going to get some laundry soap. If there's 15 or 30 different options, they're all pretty much the same. You're going to go with the lowest cost provider. I mean, that's an idiot would be more for laundry soap that they're basically all the same thing. And that's what they're doing. So in 2017, under Trump, guys, 44.5 million immigrants, record immigration. So you hear all the optics about Trump's a racist, he's sexist, he hates immigrants. He's immigrated more people legally than any president, other than like previous World War II when people came and it was kind of open borders back then. But that's because we had no welfare state, and that's a whole different discussion. But I just want to tell you guys, these 44.5 million, they are stripping citizens of their economic or their political power. They are being stripped legally of their political power and economic power, like I mentioned with the wages. So again, not economic power, that's part of it. The other part of it's because if your vote matters, there's 100 of you, and you add 10 more to the pool, 50 more to the pool, now your vote matters less and less and less. And they're strategically putting these immigrants in red states. They're not immigrating them to California. A lot of them are going there, but they're putting a lot of these immigrants, like this last wave of immigration toward the tail end of 2019. They put all these people. Texas was the only state that said no. They put every one of those in red states, every single one of them. What's up, Jonny?
Yeah, I made it.
You did.
Yeah,
welcome.
Man.
Yeah, the internet service in Wyoming is not great.
I'm sorry, that sucks, man. Damn it. So yeah, we were just a brief on this, man. We were just talking about Virginia and all these bills getting passed and the optics. We won the optics war, and I was just telling everybody that how this is happening is they're using immigration as a tool to change the country little by little. And I'm showing people this is a fact-based. This is a think tank. They said 44.5 million immigrants came to this country in 2017 under Trump, not under Obama.
Yeah, they're flooding a lot of areas. Then they try to change the demographic for sure, so that they can get the votes the way they want them. They can start to. I mean, these people aren't assimilating. Let's just be honest. And when they get here, they, again, like I said in prior videos and stuff that we've talked in and stuff like that, they're used to super liberal politics. And so once you start bringing these people in and they don't assimilate, it's just nature. It's just natural to them to start to go right back to what they had before, because they don't understand the American condition. I mean, it's a way we believe, a way we think, the way we live. It's ingrained in our DNA. It's just who we are, plain and simple. And, when people are not assimilating and we play this game of, well, you don't need to assimilate. Well, there is consequences, and this is kind of the part of that.
Yeah, and this is what we were really discussing, was just how these Democrats can't convince people that are Americans to vote for them. They can't do it. Maybe in certain cities, like heavy urban areas, they can, but that's it. I mean, if you look at all the counties, guys, all over the United States, I can't remember how many counties, like a couple thousand. 80-90% of those counties are red. But why are they doing it? They understand we can't just take over these cities and win popular votes. We have to repatriate people in these red states and turn them blue. Because in electoral college, guys, you only need 51% to take the whole state. Like Texas, 38 electoral votes. All they need is 51%. That's a 76-point swing right there. That's the election every year permanently.
Well, Texas is being flooded. My wife's family left California. Mm-hmm. They moved to Texas. And they were only in Texas for 5-6 years, something like that. And it had gotten so bad out there. And you look at Texas as almost like one of the last western frontiers. But actually, that's not what it is anymore. It's being flooded by Californians that are fleeing the state. We created this storm of just garbage politics, garbage politicians, just garbage and plain and simple, to the point where they couldn't even live around their own garbage anymore. It's like a great big pile of manure. They was like, God, it stinks
literally.
It stinks here. Then they move to the next place and they start, what would be a good idea? Let's shovel a great big old pile of manure over here. And then they start to change what's so great about that state. And that's one thing about Texas is they held them off for a long time. You see the same thing happening in the state of Utah. And the thing about it is it's like, I come from a very hard LDS background. I don't have nothing to say about the Mormons in general. The one thing I do have to say is they're ultra conservative and they stick together. And they're trying to hold a lot of that off. And you see people say, "Oh, well, we voted for the legalization of marijuana, and now they're changing it and they're backtracking and stuff." Yeah, and put a target on me. Have people start getting kind of mad at me. But to be quite honest with you, it's because of the influx of the California population that's trying to change everything too quickly on these guys. I'm kind of glad they're winning. I'm kind of glad they're standing their ground on some things. I think that, just off on a whole other note real quick, I think weed will be legal in the whole United States here pretty soon. And I don't know why it's not. If that's people's prerogative, whatever, do what you got to do. And like I said, I'm fairly liberal on that. I've seen the benefits of it over the opioids that doctors are giving us. But, like I said, that's a whole other subject. But you do see that. And, a lot of people are just like, well, they're just too powerful. They're just, the LDS church is too powerful between religion and state. And it's like, but that's what's kept Utah beautiful like it is for so long. You go, just a quick example, you go to the same places they filmed the movie The Sandlot. They look exactly like they did when they filmed the movie The Sandlot. I grew up where they went to the swimming pool. I lived like 2 blocks down from that when I was a little kid. I swam at that same swimming pool when I was little. It's exactly the same. And why? Because they don't allow radical, crazy change like that. And you're even starting to see it slip in Utah too. You're starting to see a lot of major changes. I mean, they just changed the way that they do their alcohol and stuff like that. And you're thinking, man, this is Utah. For them to even be having a debate about marijuana, that's insane. It's crazy.
It is, but I'll tell you what, it does come into play. You alluded a couple of times that it doesn't really, but it does, because what they're doing with that marijuana is saying, we'll give you your marijuana, you give up your right to your guns. If you get a medical marijuana card, you can no longer have a concealed carry permit.
Well, it's the same as mental conditions.
It's like,
they're telling
we'll give and we'll take. We'll give you an inch and we're going to take a mile of that cord. So
every time you go to the doctor's office, they have you fill out that paperwork that talks about, have you had any suicidal thoughts? Have you been feeling down about yourself? And from what I'm gathering on that is that's actually a precursor to the gun stuff too. Because if you put down on there that you have suicidal tendencies, you have suicidal thoughts, things like that, all the more reason to take the guns out of your home. We're just trying to keep you safe, guy.
Red flag laws.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. There's one that falls under red flag laws. He's had suicidal thoughts. Let's go get him. You know. Yeah. I've never been offered to fill out that paperwork, but I wouldn't fill it out. I'd walk out, I guess, if they wouldn't see me, but I don't think I would. It's none of their goddamn business, No,
every time they give it to me, I don't fill any of it out. It's none of their business, plain and simple. I just tell them, like, I don't have any of this, so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not even going to. But again, like I said, it's all just a small erosion,
right?
To be like, ooh, you like this shiny ball over here? Here, let me slip this one. Let's slip this one out of the way. You can have this one, but we're going to slip this one out of the way. Continue to let us have power, and once we have enough power, we'll take care of you. We're going to pay off your college, and we're going to give you affordable housing.
Bingo.
And take care of this, and then what are we losing in the process, though? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, that stuff up there.
Free speech, guns.
Due process. People forget about due process. There's a lot of people from Latin America. They don't think we should have. There's been surveys. They fill out these surveys, I guess. What are these things you believe when they're taking their immigration paperwork and shit? A slight majority. I don't want to say all of them, but a slight majority. They don't think you should have due process. They think you should be able to, if someone's guilty, you're guilty. Because their belief is you should be able to buy your way out or talk your way out of criminal. You shouldn't have to face a trial of your own peers.
Evidence.
They don't believe that. They believe, they were raised that way. That's how their country is.
Exactly.
That's where they come from.
That's how they're raised.
Well, yeah, we fought off the same thing. Go back to 1776 or just prior to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Queen's England was telling us all this stuff. The next thing you know, we're having a tea party because they're taxing us too much. That's what we've been as Americans from day one, is just, you're not going to regulate every single thing that we do. I mean, in a lot of the wars we've had internally, including the Civil War, has been wars against this type of behavior. What's funny is the South during the Civil War actually were fighting for a lot of what we have now as laws. They wanted each individual state to have their own laws, and that's what we have now. And so, that's why it is kind of a slippery slope. But like I said before, if they start passing these gun laws in any one of these states, and it actually passes, these guys now have the blueprint of how to do it for the rest of the United States, to show the other states, the other senators, the other people, this is how we took their rights away. This is how you can do it too. And so they're fighting a fight for the entire nation right now. The entire nation should be paying attention to what these guys are doing, because I don't ever want to say that it's going to come to a civil war. I see one side having stronger values than the other, and I believe in war. Those are the things that separate the winners from the losers, is the people who are willing to give up everything. You don't want to fight those kinds of people, because those kinds of people, the Middle East, for instance, that's why it's such a hard struggle over there, is because they do not believe what they're doing is wrong. They do not believe that they can assimilate to the way that we do things in the United States. That's how we are here too. And it would turn into a very ugly battle, but I don't think it would turn into a civil war. I think it's going to get to an ugly boiling point where I honestly believe that it's going to shut it down and things are going to change quite a bit. I mean, I think it's going to be in the benefit of guns, to be honest with you. It's proven more reason why we need them.
Yeah, I think with that, we kind of touched on that, Jonny, in the beginning of the podcast. We talked about there's some solutions for Virginians. The counties can all secede going to West Virginia or D.C. They're talking about D.C. having its own statehood. Like D.C. has, because it's already a city state, it'll have its own state, and it'll absorb all those counties around it, kind of like how they redraw districts in new states. Like certain population moves around different states, they redraw up the districts. They're talking about that, having 4 representatives, two senators, and the left would love that. That's a solution, because Virginia wins, D.C. wins, they're separate. That is actually an optimal solution, okay? But they want all of Virginia. The people in D.C., they want all of Virginia, because that's a lot of electoral votes. They don't want just D.C., they want all of Virginia. And we all know from electoral college, you only need 51%. You take the whole state. You don't need, so they're not going to give that up. We know they're not going to give that up. So either go to West Virginia, D.C. form statehood, or hey guys, boogaloo time. And that's, we hope it doesn't get that way, but I mean, it's, these people in Virginia, I keep telling people when I'm in Reddit talking to these guys, I mean, they are not Arizonans. I know you, Arizona, they would gladly give away their guns. They're a bunch of weaklings. They're a bunch of quislings over there. Not the ones in the mountains, but most of Arizona, I know they'd give their guns away. Half of Utah, I know they'd hand their guns over, no problem.
Oh, absolutely.
Virginia, yep. I doubt it. I think they would go down without I think they would have a fight. Texans, too. I think Texans would have a fight, too. But Utah and Arizona, they'd just Colorado, they'd hand their guns right over.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be a few little, like, vigilante groups and prepper groups that wouldn't give them up, but I think the law would just leave them alone. They'd have their own little insular communities, and the law would just leave them alone just to prevent. And I think that's what's probably going to happen. Like the whole picture, I think they're going to have like these little insular communities that keep their guns. The government just doesn't, as long as they pay their taxes, the government just lets them be. That's what I think is going to happen. And yeah, we'll slowly turn blue, and it'll turn into a one-party freaking country because people don't want to vote, and we have an unrelenting stream of mass immigration. So
absolutely. No,
the corporations are funding all this. The corporations, they're funding all of this. They're funding the lawyers to change the laws. They're funding all of this.
They are. And the thing that worries me about Virginia, too, since they're going to be the ones that's going to set the precedents for everybody else is, and I think it was American Joe that said it, one of the guys I follow on YouTube, but because he was there during that rally, and every person that he talked to was from somewhere other than Virginia, and he talked to a lot of people. He said, I don't know how many people I talked to, but he said, if not everyone, a very, very high majority of the people that he stopped and talked to in the streets were not from Virginia. They were from other states. So, and he said it, he's like, you can't, they sat back when it was time to come out and vote, and they ended up with Northrop, right? So they sat back and let other people take care of business for them. Now, in his thoughts, you know, and I'm sure it was American Joe, but he said, you can't sit back and let everybody, you guys are going to have to stand up. So are they going to? Or are they going to sit back quietly? Because we talked about this before, and we've talked about it many times. Nobody wants to get involved. No, I don't want to. No, you know, I don't. Man, I'll get in trouble at my job, my neighbor, my bishop. Somebody's not going to like if I stand up and stand with, you know, we got to have our guns and this and that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to sit back here. I really don't want to give up my rights, but I'm going to sit back here in the corner, and hopefully somebody else will go out there and make a big enough of a storm that I get to keep my guns. Well, you get enough people doing that, and you don't stand up, and then you get out, the blue outvotes you, right? Like what happened in Virginia to begin with. Now, are we going to sit back? You know, I mean, I think it's a very valid question. Are they going to sit back and quietly watch their shit go away, or are they going to do something about it?
Well, I personally don't believe so. And the reason why is because it's becoming real. See, you can talk and see no results. And people are like, okay, just like you said, John, quoting that gentleman, you know, well, I'll let somebody else vote. Like, I'm not real too worried about it. But then one day you wake up and you're in Virginia and they're talking about it, and it is serious. It's finally for real. And I think that once they start pushing this hard, this fast, just like Jake said before, about, you know, cooking a frog over time, that's kind of what's happening here. You know, it's an erosion over time. And honestly, I think it's honestly bad for their side, because you're going to start getting Democrats, real Democrats, that are going, no, I hate these guys. I hate these Trump supporters, but they can't take my guns. And I think you're going to see people, number one, flip. And you're going to start to see some of these senators get taken out, like out of office, and you're going to start
primary,
like us standing up, going, no, because I don't want that in my backyard. It's becoming too real now, and it's time to fight now. I'm hoping, but I have faith in the millennial generation. I really don't. People my own age are, they sit around and just wait. They wait for somebody else to do it, and I hate that. But people of, like, say, John's generation, I don't know. I honestly think that they're the ones that are going to probably lead the way, and I think that's when a lot of the millennials are going to jump on board and go, if dad's doing it, if grandpa's doing it, if uncle's doing it, you know, I got to be on board with this, because I can't just come take my guns. There will be leaders in this, but I do honestly think they're pushing this too hard and too fast. And when you do those kinds of things, you start to come up against a bigger wall. You know, you can climb a wall, but if you bring a rock at a time and you take it slowly, you can eventually climb over the wall. They're trying to get over the whole wall all at one freaking time, and it just kind of, it doesn't work that way, you know. And so I have faith in America, and I have a faith for the American belief system, the American condition, that I think this kind of stuff's what's pissing people off, honestly. And I think this is what's going to awaken the sleeping giant that is the United States.
You know what's crazy, man? Is I just dug up a whole bunch of bills that you can see in the private chat here, and you can go back to the video and rewatch it. They are moving so fast legislatively in Virginia. It's not even funny. They're taking away their guns. They're going to take away their speech. They're criticizing the government speech, that is, which is important. They're trying to expedite the time you can recall this governor. I mean, this dude, like I told John, the listeners before, call him what you want. If he's a tyrant, call him a leftist. He's not an idiot. He knows exactly. He has a plan, and boy, this dude's smooth. He had the Commonwealth Health, Commonwealth Senate. He knows there's certain judges in place that they're not going to overturn anything, and he's just ramming one bill right after another. And it's like, well, this is what is talked about on Reddit all the time, is why don't they DC have its own state? 4 representatives, 2 senators have their own state. It wouldn't make a lot of changes to our national election. Everyone wins, but they don't want that. And it's like, we're going to come down to a situation where, it's going to turn out, it could get violence, what I'm saying, because I think when they go to actually take guns away, and they're not going to do it like, you know, the FBI, ATF's at your front door, give us your guns. it's going to be slowly. Like they pull a dude over. Oh, your light was out. Oh, by the way, you have guns. Oh, let me research. Okay, we're going to your house. We're taking your guns. And it's going to be like little tiny things. And I think people are going to start getting pissed off. They're going to go to their local counties telling their sheriff, F you, we voted for you. And then the county's sheriff's like, you know what? I don't know what to do. And then Trump could get involved. That's another black swan here. We don't know if Trump's going to get involved because Trump, he could call the U.S. military and flood Charlottesville, flood Virginia, flood D.C. The U.S. military would push the National Guard, NATO, anyone's doo-doo in so fast. They could put anything to a stop like that. He did make some tweets on the day of the protests, but he's been very silent about this. I'm surprised he hasn't been more vocal, but that lot of that has to do with the impeachment. He's going through a lot with that, so I want to give Trump a pass on that.
Well, yeah, he just passed the China deal.
Right.
That was a huge bill, by the way.
I mean, he has so much on his plate right now.
Exactly. That's why I'm giving him a pass.
But it's not small fish, and he does eventually need to jump in on this. And I think once they finalize the impeachment stuff sometime this next week and they start to go, hey, this is what, I think they're going to throw it out. But that's just me. I'm a Trump supporter or whatever. But the thing is once that's through, I think that's when you're going to start seeing him say a little bit more. But remember, they're campaigning in these states too. So once he hits that state and he touches on a hot button issue because somebody asks a question, that's when it comes to light. That's when he starts to say something. And that's when these people, these local governments and stuff like that start to go, crap, because he's going to come in and be like, no, they're not going to take your guns. I mean, he's the commander-in-chief. What the hell are they going to do? I mean, they're elected officials. They've already pissed off their constituency. They're changing a lot of their constituency because, like you said, they start pulling over Uncle Bill, and he's got a gun in the car, that kind of stuff like that. Again, it falls along family ties and stuff like that, and people start to vote a certain way, and they start talking to each other. I don't see it happen. I see the next election. I don't see it going real well for these people.
Boy, I hope you're right. I mean, I really hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right.
Me too.
Really, really hope you're right, Johnny. What do you think, John?
I tend to think he probably is. I'm hoping. Johnny led the fact, or he said that he still has faith in America and the American people, and yeah, that's we've got to, because that's all that stands between freedom or not freedom is us, and I think you're both right. We're not just talking about things anymore. They're not just threatening. They're taking steps to do it. And so I think that, as Johnny said, it's going to wake us to the fact that it's real. It's real. It's happening. And so we need to get out there.
Well,
we
and if
need
we
to
can't
vote
stop
these
it, there's
people
nothing
out.
we can do.
No, but we need to vote these people out. We need to get out there and do our civic duty and get to the polls and whatnot. And then, I guess I certainly don't want to see a civil war, but if that's what it comes to, so be it,
I mean, here's why I think there's a lot of potential for the Civil War, because I live around leftists. Now, Texas is a red state, but these cities are dominated with leftists. I live in a college town. There's a lot of leftists here. The local radio here's left. These people, they have this concept called, what do they call it? They have this concept of by any means necessary. That's what the left slogan is, by any means necessary. What that basically means, that's a polite way of saying, if we can't convince you guys to join us,
we're going to take it.
We'll just take you out. Like, we'll use the U.S. military. That's a polite, nice little face way. They always say by any means necessary. That's their, we'll win this election by any means necessary, whatever. And you know what they're doing now? And I've heard this on the radio here, and this guy's actually pretty sharp in town. He's like saying, they're talking amongst the Democrats saying we're really weak. All of us are really weak. They know it. The Democratic Party knows it. They all know it. They're trying to arrange different candidates to where they can appeal to a broader base. So they're talking about teaming up Bernie Sanders with Tulsi Gabbard, saying, okay, I know we hate both these people, the Democratic Party. They hate both these people, but we're going to use them as puppets to get what we need to get done, because they know Tulsi's anti-war. She's more moderate. Bernie Sanders attracts all the far left, the young people, the Get rid of your college
Free
loans.
shit.
The old people, believe it or not, the old people, oh, we're going to expand benefits for Social Security. That scares the hell out of me because there's a lot of Trump voters that could go that way, or not deep Trump voters like us three, but I mean like those people that voted for Trump in 16. I'm terrified. They
Sitting on
might
the
go. They
fence.
might go that way. They might actually go that way.
Bernie
So,
Sanders voters to when Trump got elected. You know, Bernie Sanders voters jumped on Donald Trump because they saw the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party.
I honestly don't think that we have seen the Democrat candidate yet. I think it's going to be somebody that's just going to come out of freaking nowhere.
Hillary.
Damn well that Bernie Sanders can't do it. Joe Biden, no matter even if he wants to or not, is getting sucked into this impeachment thing day by day, sniffing kids, doing weird stuff. He can't talk right when he is talking. They can't get a normal
that dude is cringy,
Then you
bro.
got Pocahontas. I mean, what is Pocahontas going to do? I mean, Democrats, I believe, if I was a Democrat, I'd be embarrassed by these candidates. Somebody's going to come out of the woodworks. I really, really doubt Hillary Clinton, but it's going to be that type of person. A Hillary Clinton.
I think it will be.
And Obama, or just, you know what I'm saying, like Michael Obama's going to come out and do it. Whoever it is, and I'm not saying any particular names, we haven't seen the Democrat candidate yet. And I think it's because they're going to play the game. They're going to do the big show, make everybody think that we really care about you. And then, boom, all of a sudden, here's this person. We hadn't even talked about this person, this quote-unquote Oprah-style person that just jumps in the race all of a sudden because they know they don't have a chance. And that's what they're waiting for. I bet you $50 we'll see this after the impeachment if the Republican Party holds it together, not this Mitt Romney scumbag, but the rest of them hold it together, and they throw out the impeachment. It'll be with just a few weeks of the impeachment going south that you'll start to see a major shift in what the Democrats are doing, because this is their touchdown. This was their win. If we could get the impeachment on Donald Trump and he cannot run again, our candidates are solid, because there isn't a Republican candidate other than Donald Trump right now that I even would know of. It would take me some time to research this person. If the impeachment fails, I think within just a very short amount of flipping time, you're going to see the Democrats go into, damage control. And you're going to start seeing some stuff start to shift. You're going to see them getting rid of a few people, stop talking about this stuff. And then you're going to see this magical person just jump in out of nowhere. What do they call that? A Manchurian candidate?
Yeah. That's what it's called, Manchurian candidate. You're
just
right, man.
Straight in.
John, it's funny. We've never talked about this. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Joe Biden will win the nomination, but he will then say, because of my mental problems or whatever, he will surrender that. And then, like you said, the last minute, someone will jump in like Hillary. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. Joe Biden will probably win the nomination, and he will give it to somebody else. And that's how it – I think you're right. But I'll tell you what, this Bernie Sanders Tulsi Gabbard ticket scares the living hell out of me, because – given the demographic change and all these college students that are way down, and how millennials we're now the majority voting bloc in this country now. They're all with college debt. They're all socialists. I mean, that scares the living hell. And there's a lot of seniors. Be damned, America. Give me my Gibbs. Give me my, and I mean seniors like in their 70s and 80s. Give me my expanded Social Security and Medicare. The hell with America. Give me my Gibbs.
That's why I'm saying to you right now, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm telling you, once this impeachment stuff comes to light, once it starts to taper off and go away, it is going to be the cow manure in Joe Biden's face. We don't have to worry about Joe Biden. I don't think personally we have to worry about him. It is Bernie Sanders. It is Pocahontas. These are the ones that are worrisome to me, because I just simply don't see Joe Biden making it very much further. Once this comes to fruition, once they start to actually talk about this stuff, the attorneys for Donald Trump even came out and started to bring a bunch of facts. They did incredibly well the other day. I actually
they did. They did.
But they did an incredible job. And if the Republicans decide, hey, let's play the game because the House runs the Senate, and they start to bring in, some witnesses, the Republicans want the Bidens. They want Hunter Biden. And it's just like, that would be such a smear on him. I'm not saying he's just going to go away. I just don't think he's as big of a threat as, like you said, Bernie Sanders. There are too many people that follow this dude, and people who are pissed off the last time that Hillary Clinton took a crap on him. I'm just saying, man, I honestly, and this is just my opinion.
Sure.
I think Bernie Sanders and those guys is who we need to be concerned about. That's who I believe. If in fact there won't be this out of the woodwork freaking candidate, which and I'm not a very educated man, but I can almost guarantee there's going to be a candidate that just comes out of flipping. I'm going to save the day.
I think you're right, man.
Is the problem here is I don't really think it's going to come down to Biden and that person. I think it's going to come down to like a Bernie Sanders. He'll get railroaded again. His party doesn't. They don't. The Democrats don't have no love for Bernie Sanders. They never really have.
No, they don't. They don't have any love for Tulsi either. But I think. But here's the thing: the Democrats don't control the voters, though. See, it's kind of like Trump, like the Republican Party and Fox News. I don't know if you guys remember way back when Trump was running. The Republican Party and Fox News hated Trump. They hated him. But everywhere he went other than Iowa, win. And they're like, this guy's really going to take the freaking nomination. Holy hell. And so they started changing their tune. They started changing everything. Because if you guys go back to early on, Fox News hated Trump. They were all Cruz, all everybody else. But then once they realized he's going to win, then they changed their tune. I think that's what might happen with the Democrats. They're going to hate Bernie, hate on him, bad press, bad everything. People like Joe Rogan are going to support him. People like the Squad, people, the seniors that are on their way out, the young crowd. Oh, everyone's a racist except Bernie. And
the old white guy. Go
figure. Yeah, but he gets away with it, though, because he's an ally. He's an ally. So he gets to pass. Oh, plus he happens to be Jewish. There's a special... They're insulated from a lot of the criticism, even though he looks genetically white. He's technically Jewish, where they get a little more sympathy in the press because of just the Jewish history and such. But I'll tell you what, guys, Bernie, he scares the living hell out of me. And because again, the Democrats can do anything they want. CNN, the people decide who goes there. And then if we'll see with this first election in Iowa, I think it's a couple months, about a month away in Iowa. We'll see what happens in Iowa, and we'll see what happens in New Hampshire. Boy, if Bernie Sanders gets some momentum, look out, man, because I'm telling you, dude, the sentiment, people love Bernie, man. He's woke. You know what I mean? Like, he's woke, and he's all this crap and the young kids, they love it. And the old folks, increase free health care for all. It feels good. Who cares who pays for it? It feels good. Free health care, Medicare for all. It feels good. Now, once he's president, I don't think they'd pass it in the Senate, the House, and the Supreme Court wouldn't. But again, when he's trying to elect himself, get popularity, it's gonna feel good. He's gonna get this fever pitch going in. It scares the hell out of me. Oh, sorry, I should cursed on here, but
it's just like football game or anything else. Okay, you've got players that are there to run blocking and defense, and you've got an entire team that's there just to pretty much play the game. And that's what a lot of these people are. That's what the Democrat debates, all these people on the stage, they're just there to play the game. And like I said, if you have been paying attention, or even if you kind of haven't been paying attention, this week is the time you're going to want to start paying a little bit more attention. Because if the Republicans throw this impeachment out of court, you are going to see a self-destruction of the Democrat Party. They know they can't beat Trump. They know they hate this guy. They know he's digging in the wrong spots, and it's going to get a lot of them in trouble. And you're going to start to see that spiraling effect this week once they start to close this out or decide they want to start bringing in some more witnesses. And the reason why I think this, they may pass it and bring more witnesses in, but the problem with it is it'll go back and forth for a long time because the Republicans are going to say, yeah, let's do it. Let's bring some witnesses in. Democrats or House, bring your witnesses in, but we want these guys. And they're going to say, no. We don't want those guys. And so it's going to go back and forth like that for a little while until the Republicans kind of get sick of it, or the Senate, and they say, okay, we're done with this. We're throwing it out. We don't have enough. If you can't accept ours, we can't accept yours. But I think that's going to be the downfall of the Democrat Party, and I think that's when you're going to start to see some really crazy stuff starting to happen. You're going to see
by any means necessary.
By any means, and that has a pretty face. By any means necessary. Okay, if there's one prayer I want answered, please give me what John just stated here. I mean, that's Johnny stated here. What do you think, John?
I don't know. I think you both hit it pretty good on the head. I think I never thought of this until Johnny started talking about it, but it makes me wonder now, who if any, is all of a sudden going to rise in, throw their name in the hat or whatever, and because by any means necessary, and they're dirty, and they don't tell the truth, they don't play fair, they don't, all this and all that, and yeah, it's really got me, that was good, Johnny. It really got me thinking.
No, that's what I'm saying exactly, because here's the point. They don't actually know if they're going to throw the Donald Trump thing out. They're playing political theater right now. And the thing about it is they feel like it's in their favor right now. Adam Schiff just went for days just dumping manure out of his mouth.
Oh, Jesus.
And the thing is, they think they're winning. But the problem is they haven't anticipated that. When your parachute don't open and you hit the ground really hard, that's when you're going to see a new candidate come out, because that's when the sickening realization to them, Donald Trump will be our next president if we don't do something. And that's what I'm saying. Once this stuff happens, once we figure out what the outcome of this impeachment is, and it doesn't go against Donald Trump, he isn't impeached, it goes away, okay, either one, they'll start a new impeachment trial. Two, you'll see the Democrat Party start to separate really hard and start fighting back and forth and trying to figure out who they're going to have in there, trying to maybe push Biden forward, but then you'll start to see investigations on Biden and Hunter. Or three, you're going to see this magical person pop up, and you know what's sickening? They've known this person since day one. It is that breaking case of emergency person. Donald Trump didn't get elected. Smash the glass. Get her out here. You know what I'm saying? Get that female candidate out here so we can have a repeat of the last election. And that's what I honestly see happening, man. I'm telling you right now, if Donald Trump is not impeached, it's going to send the Democrats into a spiral. This is all they had planned on. For the last 3 years, this is all they've talked about. They have nothing else. They have nothing to run on. What have they done? What have they done in the House? What have they done to prove themselves to the American people other than impeaching Trump, which they are going to fail? That's what I'm saying. They're going to go into this damage control mode, and you're going to see a pretty serious implosion. And I imagine within the next few months or something, I can't give you exact time frames, but I am saying that you'll see this magical candidate come from out of nowhere.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Hillary.
But it's going to be none of those people. Look at our idiots over here. Look at all these. Oh, wait, this guy's not an idiot. Look him come in. Oh, he's pretty important. And I think that's how they're going to play it.
You know who else scares the hell out of me, guys? And I'm not even slightly joking. Is Michelle Obama if she runs, or Michael Obama.
Well, I didn't want to say
that. Now, let me tell you
something.
Why that's so dangerous. Because she has Obama's legacy, and that dude had impeccable optics. Like we mentioned in the first part of the podcast, she has impeccable optics. She wins the middle. She wins the race. She wins the woman. She wins immigrants. She wins. Other than guys like us, she wins everybody. That's why I'm really afraid. Fills in this. She's that last second candidate. Michelle Obama would scare the hell out of me because she actually could win. She really could win. And all those voters that didn't show up for Hillary, they'll show up for her. They'll show up for Michelle Obama.
Other than the debate, Jake, because you look at the debate, try to think of a debate between Donald Trump, who's a smooth talker. He's quick on his feet. He's very witty. He can come to you right now, okay? She will run on the same failures of Barack Hussein. So when she does run, I mean, I am too. I feel the same as you. I just said that same thing about Michelle Obama, okay?
Yeah.
I feel like if there was going to be a candidate, it's probably going to be her. I've heard a lot of names. Oprah, I've heard Hillary Clinton, I've heard all these names. It won't be somebody we suspect, I don't really think, but Michelle Obama is the one I worry about because she has the better chance of a lot of them, but she'll be running on Barack Obama's records, which weren't good. And you put that in a debate stage with Donald Trump, he's going to call her on a lot of it. And I don't think she's going to be politically minded enough to be able to answer a lot of that stuff other than, well, Mr. Trump, it's easy for you to say as a racist,
Right.
I don't know what pot you'd have to piss in once he starts hitting her with actual political stuff, considering, and again, too, remember this, it is hard to run against a president that has been successful. And Donald Trump has been overly one of the greatest presidents of all time.
Yes, he has been.
It will be very hard to run against him because what is she going to say? Because she can say X, Y, and Z, but if you guys remember the last debates, okay, the last time we were running for president, all of the news stations were fact-checking them and putting it up on the screen. just putting it straight up on the screen. So when she says, your economy is not that good because of you just were riding off the coattails of my husband, Barack, well, the fact checker might say a little bit of a different story.
But here's the thing. Okay, so us three, we operate on facts. Guess what? Here's the unfortunate thing. Jonny, you're right about everything you said. There's not a single thing you said I disagree with it. I just take exception to one point. The voting electorate, they don't know the facts. They base everything off their feelings. And I would guess 2/3 of our voting public, they base all their decisions on feelings. They don't care Trump's economy. They can be so easily convinced it was Barack Obama who set this up and this evil Trump. You guys would be amazed how fat-free people live. Like I tell them, Obama was the deporter in chief. He deported 2.9 million. Trump hasn't even hit 1 million yet. His first term. They go, oh, and they just the optics they have is so impeccable because the media controls the narrative. And people like us, like I said, we are on the right side of things. We have the facts behind us. If you look at Trump's record, he's impeccable, and he's an incumbent president. It's tough to unseat an incumbent president. But I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of stupid people who vote in this country. And it's all based on their feelings. I don't like Trump. He's a bully. Even though he's good for my family, he's good for our country, he's good for everything. He's just such a bully. Michelle, she looks like such a nice woman. She's not a bloviating grandstander like Trump. You guys would be amazed how many people think that. Like, it would blow you away how many people don't like Trump. Personally, he does a damn good job what he does. But his personality, they're just, I'd rather have someone wreck the country because they look good, Yeah, you guys would be amazed how many people think that.
I remember them saying that about Michelle Obama, and they were comparing her to Jackie Kennedy. Yeah. Not even close.
No, they're not close.
Two separate human beings that dress entirely flippin' different. Jackie was beautiful. I mean, I'm not saying anything about Michelle, but it's just maybe she's not my type. But to compare those is not the right way. But the thing about it for me is I agree with you though, Jake. The two people who scare me the most is going to be Bernie Sanders and Michelle Obama. Those are the two that I feel like is up their sleeve. To allow Hillary Clinton to run again against Donald Trump would let me know that the Democrats are just as stupid as they portray themselves to be. To have Hillary Clinton run again would be absolutely insane. And I don't think the Democrats want it. She would get smoked so badly. And, that's what I think about Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden as well. You look at how Joe Biden does in a debate. You look at how he does when he's just speaking. Then you've got that freaking snake tongue Donald Trump that can just open up in any situation. Donald Trump will clean the floors with Joe Biden. The Democrats know this. There is no way. Guys, listen. There is no freaking way the Democrats are this stupid. They are people amongst us. They're just as smart as us, a lot of them. Okay, I'm giving credit where it's due. They're just as smart. They want the presidency just as bad as we do. There is no freaking way they're going to put Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden up against, Donald Trump. There's no freaking way. Especially when he can come out and be like, y'all tried to impeach me. How did that work out for you? He's going to have so much ammunition to throw at these guys. And even Bernie Sanders gets to kind of stutter in. He's not as quick. He's not as witty as Donald Trump is. And when it comes to debates, that's everything, really. I mean, because the American people want to know who these guys are, what they're about, what they're talking about and stuff. I honestly, like I said, I am really nervous about Bernie Sanders because the millennials and, like you said, a lot of the super older generation have, attached to this guy, just claws in. They're all in no matter what he says. He could say, we're going to go communist, take away. They love it. They eat it just mowing down on what he's saying. The only other thing that scares me, too, just like Jake said, was once the impeachment goes south, once Donald Trump is, cleared of this whole thing, it's going to be Michelle Obama that bothers me the most. Because just like you said, Jake, that's where they're going to get somebody in there where people go, but I just love her. God, look at her. Look how great she is. She was on Oprah. God, I just love Oprah. She was on, Good Morning America. I love, and it does. Those are the two that I worry about the most. I really honestly do. And I think that we're going to see a shift, and you're going to see these more terrible candidates start to go away once they clear Trump.
Yeah, man. It's oh, God. I don't even know what to say. You're so right. I can't emphasize you guys because I went all over the country this summer just talking to random folks. You guys would be amazed how how good the media has done a job of the optics around Michelle Obama. I mean, dude, Jesus could drop from the sky. They would take her over Jesus to run this country. I mean, I'm not even joking. They think this woman is perfect. Women, blacks, all the different Hispanics that say, oh, I don't want no rich white guy getting in charge. She wins on so many fronts. You don't need to enlighten electorate like me and John were talking about earlier. You need stupid people in big numbers. That's how you win an election in America. You need stupid people in big numbers and smart people to sort of funnel the herd where they need them to go. They need Hollywood virtue signalers, athlete virtue signalers. They in the media crafting just a perfect narrative of how Trump's a racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe. Social media pushing this. Look what a racist he is, and stupid people going, Jake and Jonny and John show me the evidence, but I still don't believe them.
Right.
I'm voting for Michelle Obama. It's like that's why she scares me.
They've been pushing that narrative for years, just like you just said.
She is impeccable optics. That's what I was mentioning earlier. We won the optics war with that protest. We looked good. Even if the media made us look bad, we won the optics. Michelle Obama, oh my goodness. Even if they did a bad job, people, but Jake, a black woman's the first chance. Who cares if we destroy the country? Let's put a black president in charge. I mean, I'm not even joking, guys. People really think that way.
They do. They did it with Barack Obama. That was a lot of people. Well, I just need to vote for him because it's my civic duty. We need to have a black president.
Exactly.
I agree with that. No, and what's crazy is like I said, those are the only ones that really bother me. And like I said before, I'm not going to say all of the liberal left is just this smart, but the powers that be are just this devious. They know, and they're hateful. They're resentful. They're hateful. They need Donald Trump gone. He will expose the swamp like he said he was going to, okay? The bottom line here is, for me, I think all the people you see on the Democrat stage are just puppets. It's going to be this, whoa, we're just so blown away. I can't believe this lady wants to run for president. They knew all along. They're grooming her right now, just like Bill Clinton was grooming 13-year-olds. Okay, the bottom line is they're grooming their candidates right now. And they know what they're going to do. They know who he or she is. They know who this person is. They are sitting on the sidelines. And like I said, in an emergency, break the glass. That person's sitting there just waiting for the right opportunity to step out and be like, ha, look at me. I decided to run. No, you did all this ago.
Yeah.
Why would they let this many idiots on the stage? You just saw Pocahontas get confronted by that dad the other day. So are you going to pay for the schooling that I paid for? Because I paid out of pocket. I sold all my stuff. Yeah. And she was like, no. And he's like, oh, so you're going to laugh at me. No. Yes, that's exactly how they're going to treat you. Are you kidding? You think they're going to do something? They could have done that to you right now. They have a House majority. You think they can't start passing bills to take care of it? They don't want to. But that's just what I'm saying, man. I don't like to go, I don't want to go on and on about it. But at the same time, like I said, it just,
it's important points, though.
It befuddles me to know that they have these idiots, these clowns on the stage night after night after night because they think their constituents are that stupid. That they're really going to put Joe Biden next to Donald Trump? Really? You had a Bush next to Donald Trump, and he couldn't even hold up. You had a Bush that stood up next to Donald Trump. Donald Trump belittled him. Then they asked his mother about it, and she said that she didn't even think her own son would be a good candidate. Let's just be real. When does this ever really happen in real life? You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump even convinced Bush's mom that he was a piece of crap.
Well, you just need the people behind you. And this is what the primaries are so important. Okay, if Joe Biden wins the primaries, I think what you're saying is airtight, solid. I think what you're saying, but Joe Biden has to win the primaries. I think we have to wait and see on that because I think Bernie's got some momentum behind him because you seen him survive the optics of that last debate. They called him a liar, basically, and you're a white man, and his popularity just surged. I'm like, wow, this dude's bulletproof with the Democratic Party. But it's up to the people because remember, Trump was the bad guy. Fox News hates him because he attacks our little darling, Megyn Kelly, our little darling. You know what that Robert Ailes, whatever his name is, I can't remember. They used to Fox News head. He attacked our little darling. Screw him. We're gonna promote Cruz or Bush or whoever. And then when it wasn't gonna happen, okay, now we're for Trump. Rush Limbaugh changed his tune. Everybody else has started changing their tunes just like that. So if Bernie Sanders loses the primaries, what you're saying is absolutely going to happen. Totally going to happen.
No, I agree. Joe Biden.
Totally going to happen.
Joe Biden is wanted by the Democrats.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is wanted by the people. You know, that's where that's what the thing is about this. They're not going to let Bernie Sanders win. They did it already. I have proof they did it already. They rigged a freaking debate so that he could lose. Like, it's insanity to me. But I agree. I agree with the points you were making.
You heard the moderators, right? The moderators were calling him a liar, basically. They didn't outright say you're a liar, but like the moderators were trying like hell to make him look bad.
Well, she straight up called him a liar. She says, did you say that? And he's like, no, I didn't say that. And then they turn and they go, Pocahontas, when he said that to you, did he say, you know? They just said you said it, dude. Like, you just told them no, and then they said you said it. Like, what the hell is this?
Listen, lady, you're supposed to be moderating, not taking sides. I mean, it was so obvious they were trying to go after him. I'm like, I'm not a Bernie guy, but it was obvious he was being thrown out there.
It happened to him last time. I watched a lot of it last time, and yeah, they went after him last time too. And then they were giving the questions away to Hillary Clinton. She already knew the answers.
Yeah, thanks to Julian Assange just exposing the DNC.
Things are going to be different this time. It's just like a freaking person who's abused that keeps going back to their abuser. Well, it'll be different this time because they told me it would.
Yeah, okay.
It ain't going to be different. They don't want Bernie Sanders. He's a socialist. The Democrats want Joe Biden, and it's not working out. So,
yeah, man. So how we doing, guys, on time and whatnot? Like, what else?
Oh, we're about 30 minutes over.
Okay. But hey, let's answer comments, man, or questions, or if there's any questions or comments.
Oh, we had a few comments. I go back.
I mean, I've been reading them as you pulled them up, but let's just address some questions and comments if the people have any, because I don't want to let them feel like they're unheard.
Wasn't any questions, but like this comment come up, you know, we already addressed that.
And Christopher Stout's totally right. Yeah, because the Democrats, if someone resigns, like let's say they win the party primary, they can step down. There's nothing stopping them from like Joe Biden could win the nomination. It's legal. He can step down, and then the Democratic Party can put whoever they want there once he steps down. And there doesn't have to be a vote. There does not have to be a vote.
Right. And then this other comment I have heard this too, that the Dems think that it's too big of a decision for the people to make in voting, that they want to just abolish all voting.
Adam Schiff said that.
Yeah,
is that where
right.
I knew I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, during the impeachment trial, he got on there and says, we can't leave this kind of a big decision up to the people. You know, we have to be able to take action on this. It's like, no, Schiff, you don't have the right to do that. That's where you're getting all this wrong.
Yeah.
He lives in that LA area, that greater LA area where he's safe. I mean, his constituent, he might get primaried, but given that he went after Trump so hard, I don't think in the primary someone will even challenge him because he's safe where he's at. He won't even lose his local election. He's like that Nancy Pelosi chick. He's safe. There's nothing that'll happen to him.
Well, as soon as he loses this impeachment, he's going to lose a lot of credibility. They're not going to go with any damn thing after that. He's just going to be sitting his time out in the office, just keeping his mouth closed, because every time he does, like, hey, Schiff, remember that impeachment? Dick.
Boy, Nadler's another one that looks stupid, too. Boy, Nadler looks really stupid with all these allegations. He just keeps going on and repeating himself. It's like, dude, sit down, old man. Like,
he's a weird proportioned dude, too. I've seen pictures of him from the 80s, and Terry Nadler's a good dude, man.
Well, I won't go after him for that.
You know?
But his whole this guy's, he's a criminal and he obstructed justice, and they're like, the lawyers like asking questions, what did he do wrong? But he's just a criminal and he's obstructing justice and
high crimes and misdemeanors.
Yeah, and he's like, all the crimes, and America deserves better than this. And it's like, dude, you're not even showing any evidence, you're just talking.
Oh, they even started bringing up all the Russia collusion crap.
Yeah.
Stupid. It was like, this is not even permissible in court, and everybody was going, I don't understand why the Senate didn't object to it. You know why they didn't? They're letting these guys dig their hole. Keep digging it deeper. I'm not going to object, because when we come in and finally say it, you brought in a bunch of hearsay evidence, which in any court of law is just going to get thrown out. There's no way we're going to take that seriously. That's why we didn't object to it, is because why should we have to? You're wrong. It was proven wrong. And you're bringing in stuff that's actually proven wrong because of your hatred for Donald Trump. That literally proves the hatred.
You know what I'm worried about, guys? Is this what I'm worried about with that whole impeachment? I have a feeling they're going to stretch this out, and they're going to push it all the way into summer. I have a feeling they're going to push this They know they can't win. They know Trump's going to stay in office. He won't be removed. I have a feeling they're going to put all their money and they're just going to push this impeachment so far into summer. They're just going to delay it and delay it and delay it and delay it. Here's a new witness. Here's a new piece of evidence. Here's this. And they're just going to push this so far to where Trump, I guess, could maybe burn out. Trump won't burn out, but it'll look like he's, Trump, they went after Trump for so long, he's a bad candidate. I'm telling you guys, totally unrelated subject. But, I mean, there are a lot of stupid people, guys. They'll watch CNN and MSNBC. They will believe every word they say. Yeah, there is a lot of Russian collusion. Oh, there is a lot. It's like, I mean, you guys would be blown away how many people. I mean, we've spent $40 million proving there was no Russian collusion. They still believe it. I mean, oh, fuck. I'm done. And that's not much you do about nothing.
Yeah.
It may go on longer and it may not, but I think it probably won't. I mean, if I had to say, my personal opinion on it, I don't think it'll last longer than this next week. They may have a few witnesses in it. It may last up to 2 weeks, but I don't think it's going to go any further than that. They've really done a good job of pissing off Donald Trump's attorneys. They've done a good job of pissing off the Senate, trying to tell the Senate how to do their stuff. You'll even see a few Republicans separate, but what do they only need like 50 some odd votes in order to throw this thing completely out. They've got the votes they need. They don't have to worry. They may not. The smart thing would be not to bring the witnesses, because then when we start getting into these petty games of, let's ask, Hunter Biden about some stuff. Frick, his baby mama can't even find him. So I don't know what we're going to do. So it's just, I really honestly think it's not going to last much longer. And, I'm sure John probably wants to get out of here. And so, just in my closing, to be quite honest with you, I think that this next week's going to be historical. I think everyone should pay attention to what's going on this week. And if I'm right, you can give me a gold star if you want, or, I'll even take a silver star. I'm not, price of silver's gone way up. But the thing about it is I think that this week will probably be the closure of the impeachment trial. Donald Trump will more than likely be cleared on it. And then you're going to start to see this self-destruction mode of the Democrat Party. And you're going to see the Manchurian candidate, that just this random person show up that, we just found out about this. No, that person's already been informed. They already know. They're on standby just in case Donald Trump isn't impeached. Like I said, that's my closing. That's what I think is getting ready to happen. And I want to wish all those guys who are fighting out there, for their gun rights and stuff, just keep doing it. You're doing it. You're fighting for the whole entire nation right now. Don't let these people get you down. Don't let them take your guns. But that's it, you guys. And that's it for me.
I'm good. I already made my closing argument that too many stupid people vote, and people like us three and all our viewers need to get out and spread the word to try to limit that amount of stupidity that's spread all over the place. We are sort of like the border wall of stupid being spread. That's our responsibility. That's my message.
Got to speak up. Thought we had a good show tonight. We had quite a few people in and out. Thank you, everybody that joined us. We appreciate you. Appreciate your comments. We did get quite a few comments. Not really any questions this go around, but we had comments and some people participating with us in there. So thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Let's pay attention this week and see what goes on, and we'll be back next Saturday with something for you.
Great show, guys. See you next week.
Take care. God bless.
Everyone else next week.
Peace, guys.
Oh, yeah.